Was it like being in the studio with Dre? Because his reputation precedes him a little bit. Yeah. What's he like?
Oh God, he's annoying. I needed to be humbled and dropped. I needed to be dropped on my ass a bit and to sit down and think a bit, because I was very feisty. I gotten a call from my manager at the time saying, hey, so Prince wants to do a song with you, and when he calls, you basically have to drop everything and go to the studio. He brought Lenny Kravitz back to the studio, and I was like, what is happening? Like, craziest night of my life. My first love is definitely Jamaica. You know, I always joke and say that I'm like the biggest Jamaican ever. I am such a Jamaican. It has to be London. To live here and have a life here as a woman, as, you know, a mom, as a wife, for sure, this is where I know me. This is who I am. This is what feels like me.
Welcome to the Travel Diaries. It's so lovely to see you, an icon of my teen and, you know, university years. I mean, I cannot tell you how much I have sung your songs to myself. So it's really a real pleasure to meet you.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
What does travel mean to you? Are you a keen traveler?
Oh, love it. I do love it. I mean, I definitely get to travel fatigue sometimes, but you know, when I'm home for a while, I'm always thinking, what is going to be the next trip? Where are we going to go?
Yeah.
And travel means everything to me. You know, I still call me like this little girl from Philadelphia that was able to see the world because of my music. So
yeah.
Travel is everything.
Your music opened up the world to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned your childhood in Philadelphia.
Yes.
So today we're going to go on a journey through the 7 chapters of your life's travel diaries.
Love it.
And we start with chapter 1, which is your earliest childhood travel memory, going back to those days.
Yeah, I think it would be going to like the Jersey Shore. That's like the closest to us, you know, where you could get some beach, some sea. You could get like, what are they, these salty sweets that we would have?
Like
sticky
saltwater taffy.
Saltwater taffy.
Yeah.
And then there was, you know, a little amusement parks, not great ones, but enough. When you're small, it's nice. Atlantic City, which is on the Jersey Shore as well. So yeah, that's the earliest memory of me traveling.
Jersey Shore obviously has a reputation these days, doesn't
does.
it? For being a bit of a wild destination, but it was good for families
Depends
as well.
on where you wind up. But
Yeah.
yeah, there are pockets of it that are still really good for families.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you were growing up, did music always feature in your household? Was it a huge part of your childhood?
Music was always on. The radio was always on. And when I was growing up, one of the neighborhoods I lived in, we did block parties. So there were always DJs playing music. And my dad, actually, my biological father, was a DJ. So when I was growing up, he was always playing something. So yeah, I've been around music all my life, really.
And do you think that just like infused into you?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I didn't know this, but a few years ago, I always thought that my dad was just a DJ, but my mom told me that he played bass in a band. So I was like, okay, this makes so much sense.
It's in your DNA.
Yeah, it's in my DNA for sure. Yeah.
And so from that kind of small town life to then your big break, that's a huge leap. And when I was kind of going back and reading about it, it suddenly feels like you went from that life to suddenly being in the studio with Dr. Dre and everything happening really quickly. But I imagine, did it happen really quickly? Because often with musicians, it sounds like it does, but then actually you're grafting for years and years. So what was it like?
It was kind of a bit of both in a way. So I was that kid that, thankfully, my mom has always had my back. So I was that kid that was like, I want to do the talent show, or, this week again. I had a group of girls. I went to Catholic school, and we had our own little rap group. And so we were performing all the time. And when I was in high school, I kind of made the decision. I knew that I didn't want to go to university. I knew I wanted to pursue music. And I told myself, if I'm not signed by 17, then that means it must not be for me.
Wow. So you had your eyes on the prize.
I had my eyes on the prize.
Yeah.
And I, of course, had turned 17 and it didn't happen. And I remember I called a friend of mine who was going to NYU, and I was like, can you send me, do they have classes on special effects makeup? Because I love special effects makeup.
Oh, yeah.
And so I thought I would go to NYU. And I think like a week later, I'd gotten a call for an audition to audition for Dr. Dre's Right Hand Man, and I just was about to turn 18, and I got signed, and that once I got signed to Dre, all these things happened really fast. Like they threw me in the studio, and I had I had a condo, I had a bank account, but then I got dropped 8 months later.
It's just such a brutal industry, isn't it?
It's so brutal, but I needed
brutal.
it, to be honest. And I always say, it's that old saying of, failure is a part of success. And I do believe if I hadn't gotten dropped, I wouldn't be here speaking to you. I wouldn't be living in London. I wouldn't have the career that I have. So I needed to be humbled and dropped. I needed to be dropped on my ass a bit and to sit down and think a bit, because I was very feisty. I was very demanding.
Right.
So I am thankful.
And
that
then
I was dropped.
you came back and reunited with Dre years later.
Yes, reunited with Dre years later. I'd gotten signed to Rough Riders. And I was like, I don't know, home back in Philly for like a month, and I got a call. Got signed to Rough Riders, and Dre and I got back together on my second album, which is Scorpion. So
which we're here to celebrate as well. Yes. Obviously, so many iconic tunes. I mean, what was it like being in the studio with Dre? Because his reputation precedes him a little bit. Yeah. What's he like?
Oh God, he's annoying. But he's
a perfectionist.
He's a perfectionist, and that's why he is Dre. And I will say, it's funny because there are times where I'd be in the studio with him and be so frustrated.
Is that because he's doing multiple takes all the time?
Yes. So like even for one of the songs that I did, there's one word, the word block, that he was like, you have to say it like this. And I'm like, I am saying it like that. And he's like, you're not. He was like, I think we did it 15 to 20 times. And when I got it, I heard what he heard. And that's what makes him great, because it literally, just in that way, it changed, I don't know, the melody, it changed, it was amazing. So
his ear is just like next level.
It is next level. Yeah. Yeah.
And were there any hard feelings when you came back to him after the fact that he dropped you at the beginning?
No hard feelings for me. I was like, see.
I
told you. Yeah. I told you. Yeah, it was more kind of show off kind of. And no hard feelings on his side either. It was kind of like, listen, I get it. Like, this is why I signed you. It's just that I do think, and it's the reason why for me, like people ask me in my career, like, why don't you take on any artist? I personally don't want to be responsible for another artist's journey, because I am so focused on myself and my journey. I will gladly connect anyone, but I think sometimes producers also, it's the same thing. If you're a creative, sometimes it's hard to kind of put that energy into another artist. So as I am mature enough now, I have no hard feelings and understand that we just weren't meant to take that journey together.
Yeah. And then the alchemy came together later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, let's pause there for a second and move on to chapter 2 of your travel diaries. And that is the first place that you fell in love with.
So I have to say, there are many, but my first love is definitely Jamaica. For sure, Jamaica. I always joke and say that I'm like the biggest Jamaican ever. I am such a Jamaican. Or I used to be when I was like, in high school, and a lot of my friends were Jamaican, and I used to spend a lot of my first vacations when I was able to spend money and like splurge on things. And it is truly one of my favorite places.
So it was one of the first places when you were in charge of your own holidays.
Yes.
You chose Jamaica.
It actually chose me. So I will say the first time I went was 1999, and I had gotten invited to perform at this big music festival.
Oh, cool.
Once that happened, I took my mom, I flew my mom with me, and then I never stopped going. I was like, I have to come to Jamaica. Like, I was going to Jamaica like 3 times a year.
Oh,
but I lived in New York, so it was
easy.
It was super easy to get there.
Yeah.
Especially in the winters. It was like, I'm going to Jamaica.
And where would you stay?
I would say all over, actually. Kingston, Montego Bay, Ocho Rios. I like to stay in Kingston a lot. I kind of like the city vibes.
Because most people are like, particularly Brits, if they're going to Jamaica, probably wouldn't go to Kingston, would they? They go to the beach.
They go to the beach.
So what was cool about Kingston for you? What were your favorite spots?
Oh, God. You know, I used to stay there. There were different hotels, but I always stayed in this residential hotel. And people used to be like, why are you staying here? But it was a very small, kind of almost like a boutique hotel. The food was insane. They had the smallest little pool out back, but they had the most amazing bar. And it was locals. It was people who lived in that neighborhood. I just liked it. I mean, also they had the best dance hall parties in Kingston. So
were they not all asking for you to perform always?
No, you know, that was another thing I think I liked about it was that they knew I was just there to enjoy. I was there to enjoy. I hung out like they hung out. You know, I had so many friends there, and you know, it was. I was never bothered in any way. They were just happy I was there, and I was so happy to be there.
And so for somebody who hasn't been to Jamaica, what would be like some of the sites that you'd say you can't miss?
Oh my goodness. I mean, there are so many. There's Bob Marley Beach.
That sounds pretty iconic.
Bob Marley Beach. If you love, of course, who doesn't love Bob Marley? But you could also visit his studio, which is also nice. Negril is incredible. You know, there's the cliffs on Negril. There's some hotels that you can jump into the water from there. Montego Bay also is amazing. And I would say, listen, do your research, of course, on Kingston, and I haven't been in a few years, so definitely do your research. But I think it is worth a visit if you can, even if it's a day. Maybe it's a drive through to somewhere else. And you know, they just had that horrible storm. So I think it's a place that we all should be thinking about spending some money again and getting their economy strong. So I really recommend it.
There are some iconic recording studios there as well.
Oh my
aren't
God,
there?
G-Jam.
Yeah.
That's on my list of life. I've thought about this. I would love to record in G-Jam studios.
Yeah.
I actually think, is it Golden?
GoldenEye?
GoldenEye.
Yeah.
I think they might have a studio there as well. I'm not sure. That's also on my list. I've never made it there. So that is on my list.
Yeah. There are some amazing hotels in
Yep.
Jamaica.
Yeah.
Jamaica Inn as well is another one that sounds
Yes.
so nice.
Yeah.
And so your debut album, then going back to your kind of career trajectory, went straight to number one.
Yes.
And suddenly, like we say, the world kind of opened up to you. And were you just then from that point onwards, like it was in those days, and I guess it probably is still now, like on the plane, place to place to place?
Oh my God. It was faster than fast. It was like warp speed. And you know,
was it overwhelming or was it fun?
Very overwhelming. It was fun. It was also fun. It was all the things.
Yeah.
It was all the things. It was amazing. You know, here I am. This is what we talked about. Me and my friends. I took my friends everywhere, which was a mistake. But
A mistake because you got up to no good? Or?
Well, a mistake because you got up to no good, but also, you know, life changes, and some people are supposed to be on your path and some people aren't. And when you're that young, when you're a teenager, you want everyone involved. But things do change, and it went from, woo, this is amazing, to, wait a minute, why are they making more money than me? And then it went to like arguments, and you know, it crumbled by my first tour. It was like, yeah, this is not going to work out. But it was also still incredible. You know, I was in rooms with people I'd watched the videos of, and songs that I sang, and like, you know, it was incredible.
What was the most surreal moment as a music fan yourself? Like, what was the most surreal studio? Because you had so many amazing collabs. Tell us, like, let's talk through some of them.
Yeah, I mean, I would say my most incredible moment ever is Prince, of course. May he rest. I got a call from my manager at the time saying, hey, so Prince wants to do a song with you, and when he calls, you basically have to drop everything and go to the studio. And I was just like, yeah, right. Prince doesn't even know who I am. Like, how would he know who I am? And it took weeks. It did. I kind of almost forgot about it because I was like, this is never going to happen. And then I did get the call, and he was at Electric Lady Studio in New York. And I went to meet him, and I was just like, wow, like he's really here, in awe. The nicest, most down-to-earth, incredible person.
Because he has a kind of like diva reputation, but actually all the artists that I've met who've worked with him say that he was so nice.
He was literally the nicest person.
Yeah.
He was so chill and so celebratory of people as well and of their artistry, which was like, for me, I was like, what do you mean you know who I am? Like, that was
Wild.
incredible.
Yeah.
But in that same night, he invited me to come do this record. And that same night, he left because he was going to a Lenny Kravitz concert. He brought Lenny Kravitz back to the studio, and I was like, "What is going on? What is happening?" Like, craziest night of my life. But yeah, you know,
and is that intimidating when you're when it's somebody of that stature?
Yeah.
Because being creative is essentially being vulnerable, isn't it? As
totally.
well. And so, is it easy to kind of like vibe, or is that what makes them and you great?
I was so, what's the word? I won't say, it wasn't cocky or arrogant, but especially being young, I was like, yeah, this is right.
Yeah.
This feels right. Like, you know, I was always respectful. I was always so in awe in a respectful way, but I also deep down weirdly, I had this thing about like, I knew I was supposed to be here.
Where you meant to be.
Yeah. Where I was meant to be. Yeah.
And so, let's think about some of these other ones, like Missy.
Oh,
I mean, what was that like?
I mean, incredible. Another, again, very incredible person who was so, and still to this day, we don't speak, I mean, it's been years, but anytime we see each other, she's always been so supportive of me as an artist. And I remember that call as well of like, hey, we want to get you on this remix. That was huge for me. It was myself, Missy and Nas, and this was a huge record.
Yeah.
And the fact that I was able to be on this record, on this remix, was like, oh my God. On a Hype Williams like video set as well was beyond.
The music videos were so epic then as well.
They were epic. That's because they were like $1 million plus budget. Yeah. That's when the music industry had lots of money.
I used to love making the video.
I know.
On MTV.
Oh my God,
Wasn't that such a good show?
That was such a good show. Yeah. That was a really good show.
What was your favorite music video to make?
Oh, that's a good question. Favorite? Probably Tambourine.
Iconic track.
Thank you. Only because it was the first video I did research for the video. I knew I wanted it to look a certain way. It was the first female director as well that I had.
Oh, cool.
And actually, is that true? No. Maybe second female director. I need to go back because there was one video that I did that had like 2 directors on it. But this was the first one. Her name's Miss Melina. She's incredible. And we really collabed on this video. And I think for me, even down to the fashion, it was like, I knew I needed to wear this and, you know, so that's probably my favorite.
You had like a real vision for it.
Yeah.
But I mean, you write all of your tracks, don't you, as well? And I think it's so easy for people to always just assume that artists have like tracks written for them. Yeah. But from the very beginning, like you've always been like writing.
Yeah. I mean, when I was younger, it was a huge thing, especially coming from hip hop. It's a thing of like, who else can write your lyrics?
Yeah. When
I go in now, I do have someone that I write with because I don't have that same thing where I feel like I have to prove something to someone. And also I think it is good to have another ear in. I think it was easy for me to write back then too because I did have so many collaborators with Rough Riders. So yeah, it was a different time then because I think a lot of back then, especially in hip hop, people would be like, "Oh, you don't write. You're not really an MC if you don't write your own lyrics." Yeah.
Back then, also you were always often the only woman in the room, right? And how did you navigate that?
I mean, thankfully I was a tomboy, so I've definitely always been able
fearless.
Yeah, I've always been able to hang with the boys. Like, you know, if there was like play wrestling, I wanted to be Hulk Hogan. Like, I was like, I'm not gonna be a girl wrestler. Like, I was always a tomboy, always really able to hang with the boys, and it just never really bothered me.
Did Jay-Z once say like, "Oh, female rappers won't be as successful"?
Yeah, he definitely called me and said, you know, just manage your expectations, basically.
Right.
And because most female rappers don't do that well, just as historically, and I don't think it was out of malice. I think it was more out of I don't know, maybe he's trying to give me a heads up in a way.
Looking out for you.
Maybe looking out for me. So, but I also took that as fuel of like, let me show you.
Yeah.
I've always been like that. Like, I love that underdog thing. I'm like, no problem. It's fine.
You're determined always.
I'm determined always. Yeah.
And do people, when they then circle back to you, say, yeah, you're right?
I've had 2 apologies in my career, and it helped me, because I think, you know, you go through your career, and for me especially, I think because I was the only female in some of those rooms, I got a lot of pushback on ideas. I got a lot of pushback on, you know, it's just certain things of people just being like, oh yeah, that's cool, but I don't know if it's gonna work, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I had an A&R call me, and I had a video director call me once and apologize to me, and it just was like, oh, good, I wasn't crazy. You know, it's that validation of like, okay, I know what I'm talking about. I needed that. I'm happy that happened.
Yeah, like a kind of vindication.
Vindication,
as well.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, in this kind of introspective part, we move on to chapter 3, which is the place where you learned the most about yourself. Where might that be?
Okay, so I love this question, because I of course, looked at some of the questions before.
Oh, thank you.
It has to be London.
Ah.
It has to be London. And I say that because so much of my life, this is my home now.
Yeah.
You know, again, coming from Philly, I've been here now almost 12 years. My son is born here. My husband's from here. My friends are here. Like, this is my life.
Your son
my
has an English accent.
My son has such the English accent. You know, and I think it's that a lot of my music has been here. When I first started my career, I would come here and do promo and all and fell in love then. And I'd go to Brixton for the dance hall parties, blah, blah. And, you know, I've always loved it here. And to live here and have a life here, as a woman, as, you know, a mom, as a wife, for sure, this is where I know me. This is who I am. This is what feels like me.
And so you met your husband here.
I did.
He works in the travel world in a way as well, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So can you tell us a little bit about what he does? Because you've been on some cool, really epic trips with him.
Yes. So Gumball 3000 is a rally. It takes place in 7 days, which is insane. But it's every year is somewhere different around the world. So this year actually is from Miami to the World Cup in Mexico City.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. But like the 20th anniversary was from London to Tokyo. We got married London to Ibiza. Then we got married in Ibiza. So it's incredible. And then he was just I missed this one because I couldn't go, but Vietnam to Cambodia. Wow. So it's such an incredible adventure. And I'm not just saying that
you're driving, doing these epic road trips, essentially.
Yeah, it's basically, that's the best way
in
to
like
say
pimped up cars, is it? Or
it's whatever you want to drive.
It's
whatever you want to drive. There are a lot of supercars for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of race cars, supercars, that kind of thing. But there are people who enter like vintage cars, and there are people who enter buses. Like, it just depends on your personality, what you want your week to feel like as well. There's lots of, which I love, there's lots of women lots more women that are doing it as like, whether bachelor trips or bachelorette trips, or, you know, just like adventure trip, girlfriend trips. So yeah, it's really cool.
So what's been the coolest road trip you've done? What would you recommend? Because my listeners love a road trip.
Oh my goodness.
What's the best itinerary?
You know, I guess as an American, I will say we do have some really good road trips. If you are up for doing 3,000 miles, going from East Coast to West Coast is special. I've done it a few times, and it is actually really special. You get to see a lot of parts of America, and a lot of different kinds of people. Maybe not this year, don't do that, but maybe soon. You know,
sometime in the future,
but that is a really classic Route 69. You know, it's a classic road trip.
Yeah. And did you go on the one the rally which went through North Korea? Were you on
did
that
not.
one?
No, I didn't know him then yet.
Oh, you didn't?
No, we didn't know each other then. I wish.
Because that would have been wild.
Insane. The videos of that and the fact that he got into North Korea with all these people is insane.
Yeah.
Well, I would say the first rally that I did was from, where was it? It was from London to New York, actually. And I wasn't able to drive. I was driving through Canada, through Quebec. Something was wrong with my passport, basically. And he knew this secret way, not secret, but this other way to get around through another way of going through the border. And I'm like, how do you know these things? Like, what is it?
How does he know them?
He just does. It's truly, we've been together 16 years and I'm truly impressed.
Yeah.
Like how did you find this information? And I will say, any road trip for Gumball is pretty epic. You know, there's great people on it. There's tons of people you would never meet in a room. You know, so many interesting people, but then also the camaraderie of just people who want a great adventure for the summer.
So what was that drive like from London to Ibiza?
It was good. I only did a bit of it because I was like, I'm gonna fly the rest.
Like, I'm getting married, so I just kind of want to focus on that actually for a bit.
Yeah. But it was good. It was my bachelorette. I had my my best friend and my cousin, and he did it. He did his in Fiat 500s, like the Italian job with his friends.
Little ones.
Yeah. Cute. So he had a few of those. Yeah.
Oh my God, how fun. Yeah. And then you got married in Ibiza.
Then we got married in Ibiza.
What made you choose that?
It was there were a lot of people on the rally we wanted to invite. So we're like,
that works out well. Yeah. Convenient.
It's convenient. And I had to say I was opposed to it at first because he suggested it. And I was like, all I know about Ibiza is people getting really crazy. And I do not want my wedding like that. But I'd visited, like, what is it? Like once in February or something like that, like low season. And I fell in love. And I was like, actually, this might be okay.
And there are so many beautiful, calm parts that have nothing to do with that wild.
It's the best. Yeah. And now it's one of my favorite places, even for my son. He'll be like, are we going back to Ibiza? It's his first vacation. And it's become a very, very special place to us.
What part of the island do you
We like
to?
the north.
The north.
The north side.
So
very calm.
Much more calm.
Yes.
And how do you spend your time? What's a perfect day in Ibiza for you?
Oh my God. Oh God, I'm ready to go now. Slow mornings, of course. Beautiful produce, breakfast, fruit, a swim, a chill. We usually don't leave because we'll do usually if it's a lot of us. Because I have 4 bonus kids as well, and plus the baby. So if it's all of us, then we're chilling at the house.
Yeah.
And then a nice dinner somewhere, beach club maybe. We only go out if we're there for we'll do 8 to 10 days. We probably only go out 3 to 4 times, and that's it. So
and that really allows you to relax because you're not having to sightsee. You're not ticking things off. You can just be
we do a boat
nice
trip. We always do one boat trip. We have to go to Formentera. We do one Formentera always.
Oh, I've never been over to Formentera. I've always wanted to go.
It's very cool. The beaches are incredible, but I've never made it past the restaurant and the beach, so I don't know what's on the other side of the restaurant.
It's very small,
actually.
Isn't it? Yeah,
it's very small. Yes, but there's some really cool hotels there actually now. I think there's a new one that just opened up sometime last year. So, but yeah, I don't know about staying on Formentera, but I recommend visiting.
How old is your son?
He's 4.
4.
Yeah.
And how has your traveling adapted to having a little one?
Yeah,
because it changes a lot, doesn't it?
It changes a lot. He's a very good traveler, though. He's been traveling since he's 4 months. So he is very equipped with the plane. He gets very excited. When we're going to the airport, he's like, "Oh, I get to see some planes."
Yeah.
Snacks. Also, he knows travel day is snack and iPad day.
Yeah, it's like free for all. Yeah, I flew with my baby yesterday, so I know exactly what it's like.
It's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Just let them be.
Yeah.
Where everybody's a bit stressed. It's like, you're on this plane for a while. So, he's, it did take some adjusting. I flew with him by myself at the first time at 4 months. And I was like, why did I agree to this? Why did I agree to this? But it gets easier and easier, thankfully. It really does.
Now we're going to move on to the big chapter, Eve. Okay. Chapter 4 is your all-time favorite destination. It's a tough one.
That is hard. All-time favorite destination. All-time favorite.
I know. It's like picking between kids. But it's what you feel like today.
Today, it would have to be Ibiza then.
Yeah.
It would have to be Ibiza.
Those happy memories.
Happy memories. It's great. It's a great place. You can get what you want. You can be chill. You can go into the crazy. It feels so nice there as well. There's a feeling of that island for me that is, as soon as I get there, I'm like, yes, this just feels nice. It's an energy to it. Even when it's crazy, I usually prefer it to go at the top in the beginning or the end, but even when it's crazy, there's something about it. And it's just beautiful. It is a really beautiful place. Even my son even knows Esvedra, the rock. He even knows that rock.
Sunset.
Yeah. So it would have to be Ibiza.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
What about a favorite city?
Ooh, favorite city?
Apart from London. Favorite city? Probably New York. Mm-hmm. New York was a lot of my beginnings of, it's first of all, it's super close to Philly. I'm from Philly, super close to Philly. So I spent a lot of my first music years in New York when I got signed to Rough Riders. And it's a second home. And New York's just New York. It's just a great city. Yeah. Do you have any go-to spots that you always go to when you're there?
No, I don't. So many have just changed since, I've been there. But neighborhood-wise, Soho, Tribeca, those are probably my two favorite neighborhoods. And usually I rely on friends now of like what's new, because there's something new every time.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up.
Yeah. But Soho as a whole, if you wanted somewhere to go for food, for shopping, people, sightseeing, Soho's a great place to start. Yeah.
And as we're chatting about all-time favorites, what is your all-time favorite track on Scorpion?
Oh my goodness. And that's also hard. Probably it's between Blow Your Mind and Who's That Girl, but probably Blow Your Mind, in the sense that that's the one that, I won a Grammy for, that I wrote 100% of everything on that record. So yeah, and it's the record that I kind of fought for,
In what way?
With having Gwen on the record, I really wanted her on this record, and people didn't want her on the record, and
because they thought it was like an unlikely pairing.
Yeah, they did, and so I.
Little did they know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I knew.
Yeah. Were you already friends, or did you just have a feeling that it would be the right chemistry?
No, I just had a feeling, because I was always a fan of No Doubt. Always, I loved No Doubt, and I just kind of had this feeling of like, she's with boys all the time. I'm with boys all the time. We're going to hang out and just be girls and have a good time. And I knew she'd be cool. I could just tell by her vibe. And we were thankfully label mates, which made it easy to at least make the phone call. Yeah.
Do you find it kind of surreal that, it's been 25 years.
Nuts.
And it's one of those things I saw on Instagram the other day. When people say 20 years ago, I think, oh, that's in the 80s. But actually, no, it was like 2000. How time flies. Yeah. But I don't think, this is a massive generalization, but I don't think tracks like the tracks that are on Scorpion have the longevity these days. You know what I mean? These are iconic tracks that people... are still playing on the radio all the time or singing to themselves.
No, I agree. And I'm not just saying that. For me, I think there was that time. It was the time where music was, it was just really good. There are a lot of iconic records that came out from that time. But also, with production like Dr. Dre, how can you go wrong? Swiss Beats, it was just different. It was just different. And not that, there's so many incredible artists thankfully out right now, but it's just different.
When you reflect on the legacy there, like we're looking at that album now, like how does it make you feel?
It's funny because saying it's 25 years old.
I have to say, you do not look any older.
Oh my God, love like you haven't
aged at all.
Please tell my knees.
Tell your knees.
But yeah, it's incredible. It's truly incredible. I feel proud. I do feel proud of myself. I think And it does make me happy. You know, like I said, I have 4 bonus kids, and now there are times where I get drunk videos of them at the club dancing to my songs,
I bet,
which I love. I'm like, this is so cool, but I'm also like, be careful. You know, it's really cool that it's generations old. It's great. It's cool that people still want to hear it. You know, I toured last year. And there were, you know, moms and their kids, and there were younger kids that came on their own that just wanted to see us perform. And I was just like, this is great. It's great.
Yeah.
I feel lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I mean, it's an amazing legacy. And
Thank
what
you.
about future music?
Yeah. So as we were speaking in between, it's never off the table.
Yeah.
Music is my first love. I think it always just has to feel right and intentional, especially now, where I am. I'm not trying to compete with anyone. I've really had the most amazing career, but it also is, you know, I love it. I do. I always will. And we have talked about doing some remixes and reimaginings of some of the stuff on Scorpion, and possibly some new music. It's never a no. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll have to watch this space then. Very exciting.
Yeah.
So chapter 5 is your hidden gem. So that's a place that you love that maybe my listeners wouldn't know so much about.
Okay. Yes. One of the Gumballs we did, we drove through Slovenia.
Oh, wow.
And
I'd
it was
love to go there.
and it was in the summer, and it was insanely gorgeous.
That
I don't
is
think
such
it's such
a good hidden gem. It is.
Think so?
I think so. I think it's becoming
becoming
more
a bit more-
popular.
yes, I see
So
a
where
little
did you
more
drive?
on
Did you
it.
go through Ljubljana and
We did. We went through Ljubljana, and
did you see Lake Bled?
I didn't. I wish.
Oh, I'd love to go there.
I wish. It was so, but where we went through was so lush and so beautiful. Yeah, and the highways were incredible. Like everything, it was so clean and gorgeous. And
So how many days were you there?
one day,
So
we
you're
drove
driving through?
Yeah, literally drove through. But Slovenia, that
Yeah.
would be my choice.
Yeah, that's a really good shout,
Yeah.
actually. And also, it's not, if you're based in the UK,
Yeah.
it's not far.
It's
I
not
mean,
far
it's
at
far
all.
to drive.
Yes, it's far to drive.
Yeah.
But no, it's not actually. I would love to go to Lake Bled.
Yeah. So Lake Bled is the one that is the big lake that has the church on the island in the middle, doesn't it? And I think whatever time of year you go, it just looks magnificent
It's
because it's like a
insane.
castle from Frozen kind of
Yeah.
vibes, or just, as you say, really lush and
Just
green.
lush and green and beautiful. Yeah.
I also didn't realize that Slovenia's got really amazing wine country as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and forests and
Yeah.
very diverse country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh, well, maybe we'll both be going there
go.
next year.
Yeah. Let's go.
Well, very much in contrast, our penultimate chapter is your worst travel experience, chapter 6, or the place that you would just never go back to.
Oh, that's a good question. Where would I never go back to? I don't have, knock on wood. Oh, you know where? Actually, I just thought of a different hidden gem that was actually really amazing.
Oh, tell us.
Kazakhstan.
Oh,
I did a show in Kazakhstan which was so, I said yes to the show just to go to Kazakhstan. I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I'm like, when am I ever going to go to Kazakhstan? It was truly incredible, and the people were amazing.
That is so interesting because
Yeah.
Nile Rodgers, who also came on the podcast recently, also chose Kazakhstan
No
as his hidden
way.
gem.
Yeah, no,
Drawing musicians and
Yeah.
musical talent.
it was one of the best. It's a party that they do. I don't know if he did the same thing. It was a festival that they do every year. It's a white party, a giant white party, and I performed at this festival, and it was really incredible. Really incredible. The food was great. The people were amazing. Yeah.
And what was the landscape like? Or like, what did it look
well,
like?
we were in a city for most of it. The hotel was kind of far, so it was it was still really pretty. Architecture was really cool. There were lots of cool architecture. But yeah, just really different. I wish I had more time to explore. A hotel we were at it was very mountainous behind us, and beautiful. Yeah.
I mean, it's not really on the tourist trail.
It's
here.
not on the tourist
It
trail,
was
I
kind
know.
of ruined by a TV show here.
I mean, it's pretty much what my whole crew said when we said yes, and everybody thought about Ali G. And what's crazy is it's nothing like that.
Yeah, it's so unfair. Poor
It's so
things.
unfair. Please go to Kazakhstan. They
Yeah.
were amazing. It
Yeah.
was great. Yeah.
But there isn't a place that you can think of that you wouldn't go back to.
Not really. I honestly don't have anything in my bones that I'm like, ugh, I can never ever go back.
That's nice.
That is nice, actually.
And also, I think that probably shows your disposition as a traveler. Are you quite a relaxed and easygoing traveler?
I'm kind of one of those people like, well, that happened. You know, if something happens, especially maybe doing Gumball, actually, because there have been times, you know, your flat tire is part of the rate, is part of the experience. You know, your car breaks down and you can't catch up for 2 days is part of the experience. So maybe that's why. But I'm also very much one of those people too who just like, you know, everything happens how it's supposed to, because I think it keeps me sane.
Do you have a memory of a performance where you were in a destination that wasn't home, where you just felt chemistry with the audience that kind of had a synergy with the location almost, where the environment really like played into why it was so meaningful or memorable?
Oh, that's a good question.
Like a cool setting.
Yeah. Last year when I was on tour, I did a lot of amphitheaters. And I think amphitheaters are always so nice.
Yeah.
The best one was in Colorado, actually. And Colorado, by the way, is beautiful. Yeah. It is a really gorgeous place. And it was a very, very cool venue. It was way up high, so lots of people needed oxygen. But it was the amphitheater itself was kind of sunken down, and it was just a very cool place to be. You felt kind of really enveloped. And that was cool.
Yeah, I bet.
But I love an amphitheater.
Does the energy then, like, you kind of feed off that energy because everyone's all around you?
They're all around you, and everybody's fully in it. Which is really nice. Yeah.
But you didn't need any oxygen to perform.
No, I didn't. Thankfully, I mean, it was.
You don't want to be too lightheaded when you're talking.
It was a lot, and I will say they, the green is very legal there, so it was smoky. But but it was nice because I don't partake anymore, so it was like secondhand. It was fine. It's good.
It's been so fun chatting.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We are on to the final chapter.
Yes.
And that is chapter 7, the destination at the top of your bucket list.
Oh my goodness. This is hard. This one also is hard, to be honest. This is a place I've been to already. Mm-hmm. I really can't wait to go back, but obviously there are tensions at the moment, but Oman. Oman is incredible. It is beautiful. I've driven through it on Gumball, but we've also gone and stayed for a vacation in Muscat and have been able to drive and have taken boats out on the water. It is truly so beautiful. The people are incredibly kind. The food is insane and it's calm. There's a calmness there that I've never felt in any other place that I've ever been.
Wow.
And it's a great location, great destination.
So you're hoping to go back?
Yeah,
with your
that is on
family.
the list. Yeah.
Did you go up into the mountains?
We did. The first time we went, we were up in the mountains for Gumball. We drove up into the mountains, and it's incredible landscape. We drove through the mountains, and there were places where there were oases at the bottom of the rocks. And like palm trees, and there were like wild camels just on the road. Like it's a truly special place.
Yeah, and it feels far from home.
And it feels far,
but it's also quite accessible in its way.
It's so, it's true. Yeah. It's so accessible to get to. I met some Americans there too, which was really interesting. I was like, what you doing all the way out here, girl? But but it's good. It's a great place.
Well, if anybody wants to find out more about Oman, I recently released a Oman Uncovered Destination special. So we're big fans of Oman on the podcast as well. So I hope you make it back there when you can.
Yeah, definitely.
And in the meantime, we're just going to be listening to Scorpion. Yay. Thank you so much, Eve. Thanks for your Travel Diaries. What an honor and a pleasure.
Thank you.